Hi there and welcome to the Yellow Jacket Playoff Highlight Review. This is Randy Young here along with the radio crew from the Thomas County Central Yellow Jackets. Mr. Jamie Maters on the far end and Mr. Bryan Davis here in the middle as we are going to go back and take a look at the highlights of the opening state playoff game for Thomas County Central against the Evans Knights. First off, Jamie, thanks for being here.
Awesome, man. This will be my first time doing something like this, but I'm super excited.
Awesome.
And it's always super awesome. Our Yellow Jackets in the second round of the playoffs.
Absolutely. And always a lot of fun with these guys, too. Brian, thanks for being here.
Yes, sir, of course. Happy to be here.
Yeah. This is the longtime radio crew for Thomas County Central. Of course, I'm the play-by-play guys, and these guys have been a part of it for years and years and years. And as Jamie mentioned, the first playoff game for Thomas County Central at home since 2016. And packed house, and Evans came in. Guys, we knew that we probably had them out-athleted, out-physicaled a little bit. The game started off kind of weird. There were a bunch of penalties, some turnovers and things, but eventually we kind of settled in, and I think we took care of business pretty well.
Well, it was naturally progressive as we worked through. We knew we had some stuff we needed to work through anyway. Mm-hmm. You come off two really emotional games with Lee County.
Three of them, really. With
and of course, the Houston too. We knew we were going to kind of be a little bit tested as far as your emotions go, because when you deal with stuff like this, it's only a matter of time. I was happy to see that we kind of figured ourselves out later on in the game, and we wound up doing what we were supposed to do.
And Jamie, it's hard to get young men up for 3 weeks successive and then expect it in the playoffs. And we could tell they were a little flat coming out.
Absolutely, and you know, kudos to our crowd. We had a great crowd there. It was standing room only, and we were able to. The crowd, the 12th man, was able to interject a lot of spirit into our guys, and of course, you know. Once you get your feet under and you start playing the game and everybody gets settled down, gets the jitters out, you know. But still, coming off 3 games that we had to win in a row like that, we had to kind of get into the flow. It had a weird flow all night, offensively. Defensively, I had to agree with Coach Rogers. We played outstanding on the defensive side of the ball all night. So field was kind of weird with the rain that we got. We got 4 inches of rain, I think, the day before, and it made things a little
dicey at times.
So, but I thought overall, I think if we're out of flow and we can score 42 by half, I think
it's a good sign.
That's right.
We're in good shape.
So what we're going to do is take a quick break. We'll come back and take a look at the game highlights and share our thoughts about them. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Damage to underground utility lines is a problem in the United States, and unsafe digging practices is a major cause. Unsafe digging can compromise community safety and disconnect people from critical services. Contractors, homeowners, and other utility owners need to be safe. Here's a few things to remember. Call 811 before digging. Wait the required time. Respect the marks and flags. Dig with care. If damage occurs, call your local utility provider and then make the call to 811.
Randy Young back with the Yellow Jacket Playoff Highlight Edition, and we appreciate you guys tuning in. Jamie Maters down on the far end, Bryan Davis here in the middle, and we're going to go back and look at those highlights from the opening round playoff game against the Evans Knights. So let's see what happened at the Jackets' Nest last Friday night. Game started off, of course, Thomas County Central gets the ball to begin with, and you'll see there were some good plays and not so good plays. Tyler Floyd broke the all-time single-season receiving record the other night, a record that was set back in 1977. Tyler's up over 900 yards now for the season.
This is a big play here, Randy, because we had a 3rd and long. We're able to get a pass interference there on Adam Hopkins and able to get a first down and really extend that drive. Yeah,
3rd and 9, so that definitely made a big difference. And you're going to see a lot of penalties, but if nothing else, I think it was called both ways. It wasn't it was real lopsided one way or the other.
Which is the way you want to see it. You don't want to see one side get so heavy on it.
Right. One thing you're going to see here, again, for those of you who have not seen Sam Brown, the senior quarterback for us, such a field general for us, does a great job distributing the football. And pay attention to the offensive line here.
Great job by the sniffer right there, picking up the linebacker. And
And that's Ricky Fulton. Ricky back in Thomas County for his senior year and having a really good year, close to 1,000 yards.
Absolutely.
It gives us another weapon in the backfield besides the junior Trey Brenton, which is very much needed for depth-wise.
Well, let's go back because that was a hole on that play. So the playoff, as far as the touchdown is concerned, the play did not stand, but we marched right back down and were able to get it back in. But you're right, the contrast between Brenton and Fulton's pretty neat. And again, watch the offensive line here. Trey, physical.
You get thunder there,
Yep.
and you had lightning in the play before. So.
Yep. And again, the sea will open here in the middle for Trey Brenton. He just walks in. So even though the initial score nullified, and they got to do, of course, the offensive lineman lifting the touchdown guy up. Campbell Smith with the extra point, and Central leads at 7-0.
And let me comment a second on Campbell Smith.
Oh,
I don't know what he ate for before the game, but man, he was kicking the ball. It was hitting our scoreboard about halfway up. So
Well, and
doing a great job.
Hayden Morales doing a great job with the kickoffs. And here's a big play for Tyler Floyd. Little simple swing pass out to him, crossing pattern. He outruns everybody.
He does so good over the middle. That's where his bread and butter is. If the deep threat is Adam Hopkins, the shallow threat is Tyler Floyd.
Yep, no question.
Yeah, we definitely want to get him in space, and like Coach Rogers says, if we can get him in a one-on-one to where he's got to make one guy miss, we feel pretty good.
Right, right.
And he does an excellent job of that.
Here's another extra point for Campbell Smith, and you notice the height on the ball. Because when he gets his foot up under it, it will fly. And again, what you're watching here are slow down highlights. I don't want anybody sitting here thinking, man, alive, that game was moving kind of slow. We've slowed it down just a little bit so that you can keep up with it. Almost a block punt here, but sets us up in really good field position at about our 39 or so. And we took immediate advantage of it.
Absolutely. Field was pretty wet, so
Yeah.
Both teams had struggled all night with footing, and so both teams had to play through it.
Well, Coach Rogers said that he ran a lot more power the other night, which is basically between the hashes, than he has the rest of the year. And there was a penalty here, some sort of unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on Evans that moves the ball all the way down to their territory. They had a bunch of guys going both ways.
That one there was on their head coach.
That's right.
He thought for sure that should have been roughing the punter, and the pleasantries wasn't taken very well.
And here's Ricky Fulton. Gets outside and picks up about 15 or so.
And you talk about Rogers and why he wanted to run power. Well, the middle of the field was the driest point because that's where the peak is, and so therefore all the water sheds off to the sides.
Yep.
And that's just smart thinking and coaching. And that's why you saw a lot of problems.
Now, this was an unusual play here, Brian. Not to interrupt you, but it seemed like his forward progress was completely stopped. In fact, he was driven 4 yards back before the ball came out, and they called it a fumble. And you made the comment that it probably could have been called dead, but Tyler is one of those guys that if he can break away from that tackle, he's going to make something happen.
But we were unfortunate in earlier games this season where we have broken away from that stuff, but they have called it dead too early.
Yep.
So we didn't receive the good part of that.
That's right.
So they get the fumble and come down the field, but our defense just continues to play at such a great level. But they did start off in their territory, which is why they're so deep in ours. Nice play here. A lot of pressure. I mean, he just never was able to get comfortable back there. Look at this, 3 or 4 blue shirts knocking him around as he's just getting rid of the ball.
You have your defensive line is such an outstanding group, and then behind them are your linebackers that have really good sense to be able to find the ball, and that's where you see a lot of your plays for long.
Unusual kick here. Watch this. The ball never got more than about 8.5, 9 feet off the ground.
I still don't understand the physics of that one.
Yeah, but somehow or another it punched through there, and that was Evans' points for the first half.
And he started the game off slipping down, kicking the ball.
Yeah.
And he gets a field goal slipping the same way.
I believe this is going to be a big pass to Hopkins here, and one of the things to notice is Adam kind of slowing down to adjust to the ball. And you're not going to catch him once he gets behind him. The thing about Adam Hopkins now, he's healthy for the first time in a long time. In the last few weeks, he has had a huge impact on the games.
Yep.
But
and the guy he beat there is their alpha and omega.
Yeah.
I don't think that guy ever came off the field.
He's a warrior now.
And Adam Adam beat him pretty good, so he beat a good football player right there.
And Sam did a fantastic job getting the ball, but the offensive line, once again, just great protection.
Well, when you have time for your wide receivers to have the ability to get open via your offensive line, it all works out in the end.
Absolutely.
And Randy, when he threw it, looking from where I was, I said, "Oh man, we've overthrew it," and Adam went and got
Chased
it.
down, sure did.
And nearby had to slow down to find it.
Yep.
So here's one of your kickoffs again, high, deep kick from Hayden Morales, which he has become a weapon.
He is kicking the ball very good.
More times than not, it's going to be a touchback for the opposition. Again, just so much pursuit from the defense here. Cam Brooks, who's a freshman, number 32, who just got an offer from the University of Tennessee week before last. Primarily responsible, but 3 or 4 guys could have made that play. Here's Trey Brenton. And we call him the little train, and he just runs so physical. There was a play earlier in the game where a guy went head up with him. He just ran straight through him along their sidelines.
Oh, yeah.
This is a play where Sam decided to keep it and run, and Sam's pretty good with the ball running himself.
Well, and that's another thing, too, is when you think you have the wide receivers locked down, you think that you can't run the ball effectively with your running backs, that's when he's going to sneak in there and bite you, and he does that so well.
He's a very physical runner,
Extremely.
too. And I would rather see him get what he could.
Well, that was a mistake right there.
Yep.
As Coach Rogers said in the postgame interview, he felt like Sam may have got a little greedy on that one.
Yep.
He thought he probably should have tucked it in and run it.
And again, number 4 there is their best player.
Yep.
So
He was all over the place.
Well, those are the kind of plays you wanted to get out of the way this game, so the next few games you can't afford to make these kind of mistakes.
yep.
Another defensive highlight here, a first down play. The ball with a little Statue of Liberty act there. And big Javion Rebels, who in my opinion is the defensive player of the year for this region,
Absolutely.
makes the sack. But look at the pursuit here. Right to Desmond Jones. And if Desmond had just a little bit more speed, but that's okay.
They had one too many protein bars at lunch. They slowed him down.
I'll tell you, Desmond,
Oh, man.
he's really the heart and soul of our defense.
He sure is.
In fact, he may be the heart and soul of our team. He is just a great human being.
Trey Brenton, again, goes through 2 tacklers to get in. And here's the thing, I mean, we're talking about a lot of penalties and some turnovers and a little sloppiness. Look at the score. I think it's going to be 35-3 here in just a second.
You played a very far from perfect game, and you still were able to walk away with it.
Yeah, hard to complain, though, whenever you look up at the scoreboard at the half. Here's another kickoff from Morales, and I wanted to include those because you're talking kickoffs 4 or 5 yards deep into the end zone, and they have to start at their 20.
Yep. No chances for big plays when you put the ball in the end zone.
Here's a blitz from us, throwing it down the field, and incomplete. But again, just tremendous pressure and great coverage from the secondary. Defense just playing at a high level. Offense gets the ball back. And here's a cool little play, a little reverse screen, little reverse tunnel screen to Hopkins. And again, if he gets crease, he's gone.
Yeah, there.
I mean, there's a reason he's as highly recruited as he is, and his ability to get open.
Yep. Well, and him being healthy, too.
Yeah.
That makes a huge difference.
And Adam, too, is another player you just don't want to, if you're the other team, you don't want a one-on-one with that guy. He is going to make you miss 9 times out of 10.
Campbell's extra point. They ran over him. There was a rough in the kicker. Well, the thing is with the success that Tyler's had, it's making defenses have to pay a lot more attention to him.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you got 14 over there.
Yeah.
And he's pretty sporty. Still in the second quarter, look at that. Again, trying to run up the middle, and that's just not going to work. I think that might have been Reddick.
So many of the defensive guys played good the other night.
Yep.
Just wasn't 1 or 2.
Just an impressive performance on both sides of the ball. And again, the offense and defense playing at a pretty high level. Another pass play for Evans, and here we go.
That there is
Might have been Taiwan Christopher. Oh, that's D. Reddick. No, that's Taiwan. It is Taiwan.
and Taiwan. He's the quiet killer.
Yep.
He just
D's kind of the emotional guy over on the defensive side.
He
Again,
is.
Rebels cleaned it up. So this is the kickoff of the second half.
no return.
And again, deep into the end zone. And let's compliment the field and the paint job that Ronnie Stevens and that crew did, Brian. Just fantastic.
Well, he was dreaming about it all season long. If the better we've done all season, he was thinking about what we could do when we come to the playoffs. So we're able to host. And he got his wish, a little bit of throwback to 92.
Yep. In fact, we discussed that on the way up to the north side game. Those checkerboards, the last time they were used in the end zones was the 92 state championship. Just look at the defensive pursuit here.
Javion Rebels
he's just blowing up every play. And once that happens, somebody's got to clean it up.
Right.
Yep.
So our first possession of the second half, and again, Trey Brenton, he goes over 1,000 yards in this game, and you can just see, again, just so physical.
The way he runs the football, you see him gliding and just kind of waiting for his blocks. Very reminiscent of Joe Burns, how Joe used to run.
Yeah.
But has the capability of running through a block and just running through somebody
Absolutely.
else.
And as far as Ricky Fulton, Jamie, I want to see if you agree with me here. Runs like Moses Cochran.
Just like him, man. It's like they're twins. You know, and Moses had a great run down there in the Georgia Dome against Marist and put us in the state championship with Thompson that year in 2007?
2002.
2002.
But he looks and runs built like him.
Just like
Same
him.
type speed.
Yep.
Tough, durable. And it's almost like you got a little version of DeBrell Smiley running back there with Moses, with Trey and Fulton. And look at the distance on that kick from Campbell Smith.
Yeah, like you said, I don't know what he ate that day, but they need to feed him the exact same thing on Friday.
So 49-3 at this point. And it's a running clock. So you see a lot of new faces in there. These are not starters on the field.
And let me comment on Coach Rogers. He said that he thought that the play of our baby Yellow Jackets or our second teamers he just said it was incredible how they got after the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just all over.
Now you can see it.
You know, and the swarm that he says, you know, that tells me that them guys want to get in the game. So when we get a chance to get them in, we're going to get them in.
Well,
there.
and the good news is, too, they've had a lot of opportunities this year to get into the game, to get in these varsity games and play against some number ones. And that, to me, will pay off in the long run when you see these guys next year and the year after.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at this. You've got 6 guys around the ball who any one of them could have made the play right now.
Absolutely.
And that's backups against their first string guys.
These are the babies.
And not to mention one of their first string offensive linemen, maybe one of the top 10 offensive linemen in the class of 2025.
Yep. Now, this is the touchdown that the young man from Evans scored. And the reason I put that on there is that kid deserved that.
Oh, my goodness.
He never came off the field, and there were folks along our sidelines and in the stands who clapped for him just because they appreciated the effort that he had put out through the whole night.
He did everything but punt the ball.
That's the truth.
Yep, and probably could have done that.
Yep.
Probably.
And to let you know now, their kicker, the one that slid down twice and made the ugly field goal, he is a 4-star rated kicker now.
Wow. Okay.
He's a big time rated kicker.
Well, and Campbell Smith, for us, I think he probably is going to play somewhere. He's got a range of 40 yards or so and very, very active.
And he's gotten better and better throughout the year.
And a very smart kid.
Oh,
too.
no doubt. Academics not an issue.
Absolutely.
49-10 is the final score. And Thomas County Central will move on now. And the St. Pius Golden Lions. We'll take ourselves a quick break and we'll come back and give you a little preview of the second round of the state playoffs after this break. Welcome back to the Yellow Jacket Playoff Highlight Review. Randy Young in here with Jamie Maters and Bryan Davis as we are now getting ready for St. Pius. In round 2, St. Pius, the Golden Lions, come in with a 6-5 record. But, Bryan, they come from a really tough region up there with Marist and some other really good teams.
The region winner of that region, of course, is Marist. The 3 seed from that region, which is, I believe, North Atlanta, they would beat Lovejoy 30-17. That's pretty impressive anytime you go on the road as a 3 seed and be a 2 seed anyway. The big deal is ironically, with our region sweeping and their region went 75%, all of our guys are lined up against their guys this round.
Yeah. And we know about Marist. Marist is, of course, kind of the standard of measurement for the private schools up around Atlanta. And they lost to Marist 30-27
in
overtime. So it's an old-fashioned brand of football, Jamie. They're going to line up kind of a wing T type of formation. They want to control the tempo of the game, force you into a mistake or two, and shorten it.
Yeah, Randy, they want to limit your possessions. Coach Rogers says he loves to have the ball 12 up to 12 times, 10 to 12 times. He said this may be a game that we get it 8 times. So we gotta. They want to put you in that box and kind of control the tempo, and that's why it's very important for us to be able to play on a good dry field, because we can take advantage of some stuff. He said they're not going to wow you much when they run through the run-through, but they're intelligent kids, you know, and they're a bunch of play harders. And those are the teams that'll scare you.
As Coach Pilch used to say, it's the 30 ACT crowd.
Absolutely.
You know, they're gonna be sporty on the tests.
Yep.
And the thing about a team like St. Pius too, when you watch them play, very much like Marist, they're not gonna do a lot, but what they do very well. It's almost precision with the way they block and the way they execute.
And the mistakes, they just weed them out. They're not gonna make them. They're gonna make you make mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important that even if you do get limited possessions in this game, that you capitalize on the possessions that you do have.
Absolutely.
And your scoring efficiency and things of that nature. Try to limit the penalties as much as you can. And one thing that we've done, and we kind of struggle with this year as far as penalties goes, is those unnecessary things that we can try to get worked out. What I'm hoping is that we can just maintain our tempo, even when we have the ball, keep our rhythm, and just march down the field and do what we know how to do. And I think as long as we play Yellow Jacket football, we'll be okay.
Absolutely, and I think down the road, that Marist and Northside Warner Robins game, you may be talking 6 or 7 possessions apiece, because both of them like to run the football. We know Marist likes to run the football.
Yeah, and that's a good point too, because Northside did a similar thing against us, where they try to maintain possession the whole game and try to limit our possessions.
Kind of sped the game up.
Yeah, and so we have a little bit of a look towards that style already.
So,
well, one of the things you're mentioning here is worth bringing up. All 4 teams from Region 1 6A move on. And Houston County, even the 4 seed, goes and plays undefeated Brunswick and defeats them 29-28 in overtime. So all 4 of the teams from this region, which is pretty well agreed on, the toughest region in the state as far as Class 6A is concerned, continue to march on. Just a little note about St. Pius. Their defense gives up about 16 points per game. Their offense averages about 19 points a game. So it's fairly even keeled. Thomas County Central will come in averaging 40 points per game on offense and giving up 13 on defense. So hopefully, again, as you said, Brian, just play our game and we should be okay.
And now St. Pius will give you some looks. Now they'll, like you said, they'll run into that wing T, and then the next thing you know, when they're in that 3rd and 3 or that 2nd and short, they'll line up in the wishbone, and then now you have to play assignment football, which you're going to play assignment football anyway all night. So we're going to have to do a good job with our eyes and make sure that we take care of every individual.
It's extremely important that you take care of the line of scrimmage too, especially defensively.
But I like us there.
Sure.
Now I like us in the trenches. So. And we got a lot of speed in our back end, so I think we're good, and I think Desmond Jones will take care of that middle section.
If you can force them to the sides, that's where your linebackers come into play.
Absolutely.
To clean that up.
And I think as long as we can keep them, or maybe get a fast start and kind of get them
off balance,
out of doing what they like to do, I think we'll be in good shape. But we just need to come out and take care of business.
Well, the good news is the Georgia High School Association coin toss that was done last week has deemed that Thomas County Central would be home next week if by some chance we are able to get through St. Pius and Roswell, who's the other #1 seed up in our part of the bracket, if they win. So lot at stake here.
So now if you get into the 4th round, do they do another coin toss?
They'll do another coin toss. Okay. Yep. So, but the good news is if we win, then for Thanksgiving we would be home for the first time in quite a while.
Turkey at the nest.
That's it.
I like it.
That'll work.
I like where our team is.
Yep. Playing at a high level on both sides.
Absolutely, and playing with a lot of confidence. Our kids got a lot of confidence, and and you can see it. And when it's a
little swagger.
It's not a bunch of running around and acting crazy, but it's business. And it's good to see that.
A pride. There's a pride
Absolutely.
in it for sure.
Well, we appreciate you guys being with us, and hopefully we will be back here next week for another edition. And I want to thank Jamie and Brian for coming by and being a part. This place looks real good in this blue and gold. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah.
Josh has done a great
Especially
job.
blue and gold on that side of the table.
I know, right down here on this end. That's kind of unusual. Hopefully, we will see you here next week for another edition of the Yellow Jacket Playoff Highlights. Until then, for these guys, have yourself a great week, and we'll see you at the Jackets Nest Friday night.